Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Rebecca and I've got two young boys, Jamel and Joel. So today I've got two guests on my channel.
She named us her kids. Jamel and Joel. You just named us your kids?
No, I said I've got two young kids.
Oh!
Do you see what I've got to put up with? Seriously. Anyway,
Yeah.
No, I said I've got two young kids. You lot aren't young kids, are you?
I was thinking more relative, like, you old.
I'm old. Don't even start.
Fuck your pagans, if it's that I got your back, just like your Spanish trust ain't changing money up on me no more. I'm talking pagans, now I'm missing all my niggas get this money. Pussy, I don't fuck with waste.
I've got two guests on my channel today, as you can see. So I've got my brother. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Slinko, my name's Slinko.
Okay, and what is your government name?
My name's Anthony, or some people call me Wale.
Yeah, okay. And then I've got my cousin.
Young ho, hey Joe.
Oh my gosh, why are you like this?
I'm joking. My name's Shina. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what everyone calls me.
Okay,
Fam call
cool.
me, cousin call me.
Okay, great. Okay, so the reason why I invited them to be guests on my channel is because I really wanted to have like a discussion on like how you can kind of grow up in the hood as like a young black boy and go on like two sides of the spectrum. So like kind of like go like in the right path, if you could say that, and or go down the wrong path. So like I kind of just want them to speak about their experiences and like how they kind of like grew up in the hood and what made them kind of go down the path that they went through. So yeah, okay, so I'm gonna direct the first question to you.
Yeah.
So how was life for you when you was growing up?
Life was cool, you know, just I think I grew up like most of the people that was growing up around me, to be honest. I didn't find it hard or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. I lived with my mum, my brothers and sisters. We got by.
So like how was school? Like obviously we grew up in Custom House and then we moved to Stratford. Like how did you find that?
No, back then it wasn't an issue. Even all the way until I left school. It was more after I left school that's when it was a bit more weird for me to like
Kind of like be friends with your friends from like Custom House, even though you lived in Stratford.
Yeah,
so you
literally
thought
just that.
okay.
I saw something going on that I just didn't want to get myself involved in anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's like back then, like I said, it was a bit different. And where we grew up in Custom House, as you know, I knew a lot of people from there around that time, and it wasn't as crazy as it is today.
Yeah.
Like so, but then as the years went on, just because where we lived in Stratford, it was just like most of my friends lived on my road. So
okay, yeah. So you kind of like
I
tilted
gravitated
towards
away from my friends from school.
Okay, so it wasn't because there was any issues you had with them.
No,
It's just you because of where
had any occasions with them at all.
Okay, that's okay. So Shina, direct the same kind of question towards you. Like, how was life for you when you was growing up? Because you came from like living in Hackney, Pembury, one of like the baddest estates in like Hackney.
Mm-hmm.
How was that growing up for you there?
I mean, it's a broad question for me. I think it was all right. I think the same as Wale said. A mixture of things over the years. Sometimes more difficult because of whatever tensions were going on at a particular time, because of particular issues between one part of the area and another part of the area. In terms of if the influence is to do with like gang stuff.
Yeah.
But I think because I went to school in a different area, whereas many of the kids in my area went to school not too far, I didn't have all the like connections and links and friendship groups in my local area, so I didn't always know what was going on because I'd go all the way to North London.
Oh, so you went to school in a different area? You didn't go. Oh, okay. So do you think that if you had gone to school in Hackney, do you think it might have turned out a bit differently for you?
Yeah, possibly. I can't really predict how it would have changed. I think a lot of the friends I grew up with when I was in Hackney, primary school in Hackney, went to secondary school in Hackney. There were a number of schools. There were some schools that were really bad. There were some schools that were like exceptionally good. Like for example Mosbourne, quite a few people I went to school with went Mosbourne, and a lot of them have done really well and gone on to great universities. I can't really predict how it would have all gone, but But I think it's because there are just a number of factors that would have affected it. People I lived around, who was in the groups at the time, who was around my age group, how late I was coming back home from school or not. There's a number of things. The teachers I had in school, the family and friends that are around me. There's so many things.
So you think support, that you had a lot of support?
I had good support.
Yeah.
And a number of other factors weren't influencing me at the time. So it literally could have just been just because of a number of factors coming in across my timeline to where I am today.
Okay.
And I don't think necessarily you can just it can be easily replicated. But there are certain key factors that always help.
Okay. Yeah. So did you ever feel pressure to join a gang or to participate in criminal activity while when you was growing up?
Well, gang, not in any way, shape or form. I've never felt like, not even through pressure, I've just never felt, don't feel like being in a gang. It's just not me. I've got my own mentality. I don't need to like, I'm not saying that people that are in a gang are following anyone, even though to a certain extent they are, but I wouldn't take that road. It's not for me.
Okay.
But criminal activity now, that's not something that I think I was peer pressured into. It's just more, it was more like a selfish kind of need.
Okay. And can we dig into that? Because I feel like a lot of young boys nowadays that are growing up, a lot of young black boys, they are kind of like steering into criminal activities, joining gangs and stuff. And obviously it's seen that it's like peer pressure, because even social media plays a part. There's like so many people like that are younger these days, like kind of like wearing designer items, driving nice cars, and a lot of young people are growing up seeing these things that may be living in, I don't know, in a single mum household, maybe not even a single mum household. It could be your mum and dad are both living there, but your parents obviously know that that's not essential for you to have these things when you're growing up.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, but me personally, like I said, it was like my own choice. I made that choice. I said I grew up fine. I didn't feel like I was starving at any time, or that's not my mum kicked me around the house or anything. Like I had a good upbringing, and I have morals. Grew up with morals as well, but my mum couldn't buy me the things that I actually wanted. Like my friends that I went to school with and grew up with, they was all brand new tracksuit trainers all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes designer stuff here and there. Like I couldn't get that, and my dad was tight. I couldn't tell him I want a designer tracksuit. He'll be like, okay, cool, you're not getting that. And also 2 years. That's I'm exaggerating, but it was literally like that.
And how old was you when you started feeling
when
that
way?
When
I started becoming conscious of that, I was still in school, like in year 9. Okay. Before that, I didn't really care.
You was in like year 9 when you started kind of feeling like you wanted to obviously
that's when I became conscious about it, because like it's just that as you become more aware as you're a teenager, you start recognizing things that are going on. And I remember how it all started. It's like I had holes in my trainers, and you know when people remember when we was young, people used to say your trainers are talking.
Yeah.
And one of my school brethren, Hervey at the time, was like to me, your trainers are talking, but obviously the whole class was laughing. And it's not to say like that's when I just jumped straight in the deep end after that, but it's just like that just made me more conscious of it, and it made me think like, wow, I have to start saving my little school money and just trying to buy trainers at least, you get me?
And it's good you're saying that, because I think like it's important, because obviously I'm a mother, and sometimes people say to me, oh, like you're spoiling your kids and stuff with like buying them all these like trainers and things like that. But like I definitely would not want my child to go to school and have that experience where someone is saying your shoes are talking. Do you get what I mean? The thing, like, but I will buy him a new pair of trainers, because I don't want him to go to school and feel like not that he bullied you at that point, but like him making that comment, that clicks something in your mind to think, oh, I need to find a way to hustle for myself. Like you couldn't go to mum and say, oh mum, buy me new shoes, because it probably was a bit tight for her as a single mum. As a teenager, you're still a child. You shouldn't have to have that pressure of going to buy yourself shoes. That's down to your parents. Do you get what I mean? But some children obviously can't go to their parents because they know their parents are struggling, so then they feel that they have to do it themselves. It's important for us mums to see these kind of things and know that like there's triggers, and that's what makes children then start to think, okay, I'm going to do this, because that's the first thing that triggered you to make you think, I want to go and buy myself a new pair of, I don't know, Air Forces or stuff like that, so that people in class won't make fun of me if my shoes aren't looking as new as everyone else. Maybe parents are more aware. Maybe we can do something a bit more, maybe save up a bit more money so that our children are going to school in shoes that aren't going to be talking, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'll direct the question to you. So do you feel like you ever felt pressure to kind of like join a gang, to get involved in criminal activity?
If I probably try to break it down into two things, I guess, because especially off the back of what you guys have just spoken about, and about perception of what's going on around you and how it affected your mentality. I think in my circumstance, gang, no, not really, not so much. Maybe one day I'll recall certain moments, but it hasn't lived with me since. I think a particular moment that has lived with me since, in terms of criminality, would be, and I guess now because I'm a lawyer, I know exactly what crime would be: possession of a firearm. I didn't possess the firearm, I'll just be clear. I plead the fifth. I'm joking. No. So what happened was, I'll tell you a brief story if you don't mind me indulging it. I was probably 14, 15. I'm on the street near my house. I'm just going to see some friends. In fact, I'm just going to see some girls who I knew in the area who just would like to hang out after school or on weekends and stuff like that, just because we live so close. I'm talking probably a few minutes from where I lived.
Okay.
Now, there was a particular guy who, now thinking about it, I think he probably had some mental health issues as well, and he might have been involved in whatever activity. I don't know. I'm not putting any accusations on him at all. But he, I knew him from around the local area.
Yeah.
He probably had a perception of, you could only have a particular perception at the time, given the kind of stuff I used to get involved in school, and he knew me from like when I'd come back and forth from school, and people we knew had mutual friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one day he's holding, I think it was like a rusty revolver. That's all I can remember it.
Rusty revolver.
Like, I think it was just like one of those, like a gun that had like
them Western guns.
Yeah.
A real gun.
I assume it was either imitation or real gun. It looked real, but it was it was rusty metal.
Yeah.
And I remember hanging out with girls. We were just hanging out. He came over to say hi. He was talking, and he just turns around to me and he's like, "Oh, yo." He pulls something out, like a cloth.
Yeah.
And I can see like the revolving part. Now, I've seen it on TV. I've seen it in games. I know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like imitation thing with a little orange grip that you had, the little orange tip you would have, like you'd see in American regulations, so those kind of things, or toys. So I was like, I looked at him, and bear in mind, I'm like 14, 15, I'm a skinny, scrawny kid.
Yeah.
I don't get involved in this kind of stuff. And he was just like, "Yo, hold this for me." And I'm like, and obviously I'm inferring from that, I'm getting from that, like, hold it, you're going to look after it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never had to do anything like this. And I'm like, and I'm feeling really anxious to say no, because the way he's saying it is saying in a very affirmative tone, like, hold this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. And I remember leaning on the gate. He's leaning on the gate. He's like, "What do you mean, bruv? Hold this." And I'm just like, "No, I can't, man. I can't. And bear in mind, I've got like a soft, squeaky voice. You remember how you used to speak?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "No, I'm okay. I can't do that, man. I can't do that." And I don't know if one of the girls is still standing, because we're in front of the girl's fence by her house. And he's like, "Bro, what do you mean, bro? I told you to hold this." And then I'm just like, "No, it's okay, because dickhead," or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's cool. So I don't do that. And I remember it because I you know, those kind of things, like emotion and memory is very strong to get together, right? So I remember it because I remember probably the anxiety and I guess fear I was feeling of someone's telling you to do this. They're older than you.
Yeah.
He's coming across more aggressive. He's more assertive with his voice, his tone of voice. So I'm just there like, oh man. And bear in mind, this is my local area.
Yeah.
And thinking about it now, this is why I'm very cautious with the whole kind of thing about like, oh, it's very easy for people to say like, you could have said no, like how I did.
Yeah.
Bear in mind,
especially if someone has a gun in front of you.
I don't know if that thing had any. I didn't check. I never touched it.
Yeah,
so that's what I said. I'd never been in possession of a firearm. I never touched it. He just held it in front of my face with some kind of cloth. And in my head, I'm like, remember this. Like, it would be very easy for me to say as an older person, yeah, I said no, you could have said no, look where I am. No, it's not easy. End of the day is, although I was a fearful, scrawny kid at the time, and like I didn't really get in fights, and someone might think I would be quite susceptible to just giving in.
Yeah.
As much as I had fear of doing those kind of things, I had as much fear as saying no, and him do it, I could have easily said yes, but it was just like I was just battling. I didn't know what to do, and even then I could have just said yes.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, there was a number of factors going in my head, and I just wanted to say no. But I don't think it was easy, and to this day I still remember it. I still remember that feeling.
With you,
So I don't think I don't think you can just say to young people that, oh, like you could have said no, because it's just he knew who I was. He knew where I lived. He's past. He knows who my family were. And the thing is, even if I said no to him, I don't know if he was officially affiliated with any of the local gangs yet. I just know that he was about and knew people. Even if you could have also said he could have I could have reported him because I've seen him with something. I could have told my mum, could have reported him to police, whatever. Even if he leaves because I reported and they saw CCTV, remember he knows people. I'm not stupid. I'm a young person. He could easily say, Shina, you know him, we all know him, he tried it, and someone, whoever could have came, his cousins, even if they're from the local area. I'm not even overthinking. I'm just thinking, I'm not stupid. Like, even if he disappears, there's going to be someone else who's going to be like, you did this to my boy. And do you think because of that one occasion, mum who's living in a council house or that can easily move when it's not easy to get? And also, I'm not thinking that deep, but I'm also thinking, I know where I live. It's not like we moved regularly. I don't know how easy it is to move. I have to live here. Even if I report him, I have to live here.
For real.
Like, you can. He's one person, but he's got connections. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm always like, I don't think it's as easy. And I always saying to emphasize, I don't think it's that easy to just say kids could just say no.
Easy, no.
So that's why I don't like the idea of comparing like, oh, it could have just gone. Like because of who I was at the time. Like, no, there's a number of factors. I probably didn't articulate that properly because I'm just like coming off my memories and stuff like that. But that's it really.
Okay, wow. See, that is a crazy experience because I've never seen a gun. I've only seen like the make-believe ones that they put in the movies and stuff. Obviously, I know a lot of like young men probably, and women as well actually, have probably seen guns, but I would not know what I would do in that situation because even if I was to see a knife, I would get shook, like literally. I don't know if it's because I'm a girl, but like that must have been so scary for you, especially as a young person. And like you said, it's not easy to just say no. And I think that that's what a lot of people think, that young black people are just involved in crime and gang life and criminal activities and stuff, and why don't they walk away from it? You need to understand as well that sometimes a lot of people are pressured into things as well, and it's called grooming. Like, they target people who are young, innocent, who they think that like they can, that obviously will be fearful of them, and thank God you was able to have confidence enough, even though you were scared in that situation, to say no, because a lot of people wouldn't have said no. They would have carried it, and then anything could have. How was you able to do well for yourself and obviously get to the stage that you are at now? Like, obviously let them know what it is that you do.
I'm a barrister. I wear the wig.
Let them know again.
So I wear the wig and gown. I'm a barrister. I wear a wig and gown.
Well done.
Specifically, I'm a criminal barrister, but I do a number of things.
Okay, you're a criminal barrister.
Yeah, I'm a criminal barrister. I represent people from a spectrum of backgrounds. Everyone from like protesters, Black Lives Matter protesters, Extinction Rebellion. I represent corporate executives in teams like banks. I represent someone from your local area who may have addiction issues, who've stolen meat from Waitrose.
Does it all, man?
So I do a spectrum, a range of things, and that's my job. That's my vocation. In terms of how I got there, through the support of strong figures in my family, friends, you guys encouraging me, and letting me off saying like the most stupid jokes, like I'll be your boss one day, kind of like nonsense, and teachers.
Do you think it was easy to get to be like a young black boy growing up in Hackney to now be a barrister and like representing people who may have been in a position you were growing up?
No, I don't think it was easy. In a number of ways, it was just hard in terms of the grind. I think in the same way, a lot of things, if you want to achieve, will be hard. Like if you get a glimpse of an opportunity, I got this, I don't know, the best comparison can be like sport players who just like you're crap at something and you just non-stop, or you maybe got a bit of talent in it, but you non-stop grind. And once you get an opportunity to see how this is achieved, you're like, okay, I see the tools that I may need. Okay, I'm gonna graft non-stop every day. And I always say the first few steps are the hardest. Once you've got into the flow of it, it's not as hard to maintain. So essentially, like, habit becoming destiny. But I wouldn't simplify it as just that.
Which uni did you go to?
Swansea.
Okay, what did you get in your
First?
Well done, literally, Shina. You've done so well for yourself. And one thing that always stays with me as well, like, obviously it's like a bit of a joke, not to like put him down or anything, but you know, like how back in the day they would always say that how you may not have been like the smartest in your like in obviously in your family in terms of like your siblings and stuff, and to like work your way up and to get a first in uni and to go on and be a barrister, that's a huge achievement. Let's just give you a little clap, because that's a huge achievement. Not everyone can do that. Like that, it just shows proper perseverance and like really studying and making sure you achieve, because you could have just got a 2-2 but you got a first and you've gone on to be a barrister. That's amazing, especially as like a young black man as well. Like, it's good like for like people like you to show other young black children, not even black children, any children, that, because let's be honest, it's not only black youth that are involved in crime, but they make it seem like that way in the media, like it's only black children. There's white people, there's Asian people, there's so many people that can get involved in crime. But like for other young people that are watching stuff like this, to see that like, like maybe I shouldn't go down this route, maybe I can also achieve something myself. There may be other people that may want to be a doctor, barrister, anything, like a creative, and seeing that like other people can make it out of the hood, because even though you grew up in Hackney, which is the hood, you were still able to do something good for yourself.
I got a street scholarship. I got first in trap school.
You didn't exactly go down the barrister route. So like obviously you've been to prison. How old was you when you went to prison? 21, yes. So that's quite young. Like most people are graduating at 21. So like obviously, how did that come about, and like what was your experience, and like what would you say that you've learned from it, and how have you kind of turned your life around?
Well, around that time, I didn't exactly go from college straight to uni, but that was around the time I started uni. I was studying electrical engineering. Like I'd always been someone who, like I said, because from the time my mom couldn't buy me the things I wanted, I started selling weed. Okay. And that's just something I kept until like my 20s, my early 20s. And then it got a bit more serious when I started selling Class A. And at the same time, I'd started university, so...
Was you doing it at the same time? So at uni and also...
Yeah, at the same time. And what kind of made me fall back from my studies was... I would notice, like, there was these, like, Oriental kids in my class as well,
Yeah.
And they were, like, foreign exchange students. They were really smart.
So Asian
Yeah,
children.
they were really smart. They would literally just whack their phones on, like, voice recorder, and they would, like, pretend to sleep, or they'd be on their phone. And no, it was different from college. Like, a lecturer just talks. He doesn't care what you're doing. Then he just, like, leaves. Yeah. So I would notice that everyone else was kind of... It wasn't how I expected. That's what I thought, like, right, this is my second chance. Let me go get my education.
Yeah.
And in my class, they were just, like, people who stank of weed. And people was talking. The lecturer's not telling them to be quiet. It was like, I was like, wow. And I'd done it for, like... I'd done my first year. I passed it. I got 4 marks. The next year... I was going through the same thing again, but the work got a little bit hard, and I thought there's no one to talk to here. But at the same time, it's like in my mind I was more concerned about the money that I could be making. Yeah. And like through like mine and another friend slip up, I ended up getting arrested in Hertfordshire. But I didn't go to prison straight away. I pleaded guilty for that, but I stayed outside. I was waiting to get sentenced outside. And it had gone 9 months on, and I wasn't making any money. I wasn't going to university. I'd been kicked out.
So what was you doing in this period?
To be honest, I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't signing on. I was just kind of living off the money I had left. And then when it ran out, I thought, like, what else can I do? I'm going to prison anyway. 2012, I lost one of my friends. Like, he wasn't extremely close to me, but he was a close friend, and like he died in my arms, and I didn't realize how traumatic that was for me at the time.
How did he die?
He was stabbed in his chest, in Westfield, and like I didn't realize how traumatic it was for me at first, because I just felt like, I don't know, like life. I just felt like I would just try to carry on with life. Do you know what I mean? But it made my thinking, like the way I was thinking, I wouldn't like add things up. I would just go off a whim. Do you know? Just like think of something, just go with it. And I think that's how I ended up shooting for that long, because I wouldn't like weigh up a decision like, right, is this the right thing to be doing right now? I'll just think, you know what, I need money, let's go.
Yeah.
And then, so when I ended up getting arrested, 9 months went on and I wasn't making any money. I started doing it again, and then one day, oddly, they just came from my mum's address. I shouldn't have been there with whatever I had on me, and they found me with even more stuff, and I ended up getting 5 years in prison.
Okay, and how long did you did you actually go to prison for?
I done 2.5 years.
Okay, and like, how was the prison experience like?
It was shocking. Like, I personally didn't have a bad, as in violent experience. I was completely fine. No one touched the hair on my head. But what I saw was shocking, and it normalized a lot of the violence that I see. Like, even today, it's like, I remember being young, hearing someone got stabbed. It's like, whoa, what do you mean someone got stabbed? Like, how? Like, who? Where? But it's like, after about 5 months, 6 months of being in Pentonville, it's like, yo,
it's normal.
Someone got shaved every day. Like, I'm not joking. There was,
wow.
If someone didn't get stabbed, it's like, right, it's a good week, you know, like,
wow, that's
honestly,
crazy.
like, yeah, man, like, alarm bells all the time.
Did you feel like you was on your back then? Like, it could be you?
It was shocking to me, because I've always been the type of guy, I don't really like to fight. Like, I'm not really a violent person. I'm loud, you get me, but I'm not really a violent person. Like, it doesn't mean I'm scared.
Yeah.
But it was shocking for me, because when I went into prison, I was thinking to myself, like, rah, like, that's when I started thinking to myself, I'm gonna be alone in here. Like, there's no one to back me. I didn't know anyone. There was the people that was from my hood that I was in prison with. I didn't really know them, so I wasn't the type to beg friend and walk around with them. Get me? So I realized that I'm not as scared as I think I was, because I would ask people, like, you know why people like, where you from? Yeah. But I would catch myself asking other people that, not as to be like intimidating or anything, but just to genuinely say, like, right, where you from? Like, you good? Like, just to start conversation. And it built a lot of confidence for me, because I learned how to conversate with all types of people from all different walks of life. Like, not everyone in jail is in black and white, they're a criminal because of what they've done to get in prison. But not everyone in prison is a bad person, and I learned a lot from the older people in prison. Okay. And some of the young people as well, but mostly, and people are just basically trying to school you on why you shouldn't be here and why you shouldn't come back.
That's really good.
And you learn a lot of life skills that, I don't know, maybe if the world went crazy tomorrow, like survival skills that you would never think of. You
like
learn,
cooking noodles in the kettle.
Honestly, you learn a lot. We cook everything. I cooked jollof rice in that kettle, man. Honestly, like, yeah, man. Prison was a crazy experience. I wouldn't say.
Do you think you learnt your lesson?
It was a negative part of my life. I definitely learnt my lesson, but I wouldn't say it was a negative experience.
Really?
You know what I mean? It was a negative part of my life, but not. No, like I gained positives from while I was there as well.
Okay. So do you think that if you didn't go to prison, you'd probably carry on
I
doing
feel like
what you was doing?
if I didn't go to prison, I'd be one of them. I would have deleted my Insta. I'd be shooting all the time. Like, I wouldn't have a social life. I'd probably have a lot more money right now, but I'd be living like a real criminal. Like.
Okay. And what is it that you're doing now that obviously you've come out of prison? What do you do now?
So at first when I came out, I was working as a studio engineer, because it's what I'd done from when I was younger, and I started releasing my own music recently. So I was working as well recently.
Do you think it was hard for you to get a job having a criminal record?
Yeah, it was hard at first. To be honest with you, until I came off license, that's when I got my first job, and that was a whole 2.5 years of being on the road. But then I didn't even sign on. I didn't even know that I could sign on for like a year. I signed on for like a few months. That didn't cut it. I just carried on doing what I was doing, and then I've just been trying to release music.
Okay, so obviously now you're an artist. You do music. Do you think that grime plays a part in like glorifying what happens now with like the whole violence between gangs and stuff, the knife crime and like I don't know.
Grime or drill?
Grime and drill, are they not kind of similar? No. So which one is it that they say more kind of?
Both at different stages.
Grime's like chipmunk.
Okay, so drill. Sorry, drill then. Yeah, drill. Because drill is more the one where people kind of express what goes on in their hood and how they would like kind of like I guess get back at their ops and stuff like that.
I see that's kind of like all music, expressing your hood. It's more like glorifying the gang stuff.
Okay, so would you say that's more drill?
Yeah, that's definitely drill.
Okay, what would you say that your genre is?
My genre?
Yeah.
I don't really have a genre. I can do any type of music.
Okay.
I don't have like a main genre, honestly.
Okay, so
I can testify to that just with. I mean, sorry to interrupt.
No, go on.
But I remember probably when you're first rapping, probably when you're 13.
Yeah, young man.
And bear in mind, when we grew up, what Channel U was a channel that was popping that ended up becoming Channel AK. He started off rapping grime.
Yeah.
And then you had the heavy influence of a period where gigs had come in, where a lot of the young people, which I observed, start rapping like gigs.
Yeah.
So, and it was a more, so it was less that tempo, what you'd expect of a grime beat, and the way grime beats sound, and it was more, I guess, like New York hip hop kind of style. Would that be the right way to describe it?
Yeah.
And coming back to something you said, because I think key is that at different stage, across the years, going back 10, 12, 13 years, maybe even just a bit longer, whatever genre's been popping. So say if you take grime and then drill, from my observation as an outsider, as a listener, they've always kind of just put it on these various musics of black origin. So at one point, I think in the news, you could probably search back in archives and look at articles which had put violence in UK streets as a fault of grime.
Okay.
And now it's drill.
Yeah.
I think because of how long grime's existed, the grime I still consume is, I mean, I'm sure all of them are it's all really creative, grime, drill, whatever, and it's beautiful artistic form. People really expand on it, but I think especially with grime, how far it's come, the ones who are doing it now and in the forefront, it's no different to any other genre, and still drill's no different to any other genre, besides the fact that because it's still in the streets. Sorry,
No, so I actually want to touch on this question, because I remember being a young person, like a really young person, like let's say 10. I remember when I started thinking about I want to rap and stuff and I remember people like Auntie Becky saying that that's the devil's music, you shouldn't listen to it, it's bad, music influences children. I remember teachers saying it, adults in general,
which I do think it can, but
and you know what, I remember thinking these old heads are crazy, like they don't know what they're talking about, they're all old, like how can music influence you? And I saw how music kind of shaped our generation and how we kind of spoke. People use American slang all the time, or different slang from different countries, and I saw the transition when I came out of prison of what drill had done to London. Like when you look at London, like in the last 5 years, it's just gone completely different to when we was growing up. Like our people have always carried knives, like it's nothing new, but like when people are, there's no other rap music about people walking around with knives this long. No one talks about 15 inches in their 2000 music, 2010 music. There was no one talking about
more current ones then.
Yeah, these kids are actively talking about what they do in their music. Like rap was a little bit different. It was like that, but it was more
the lifestyle thing.
Look at me and my brethren.
Yeah.
Like drill was more like, look at what me and my brethren are doing to them, man, right there. Like who are called
kind
this.
of like dry snitching in a way.
It's always, I guess that's always existed. But you're right, though. I guess you're right. And you know better than me, because obviously you're probably connecting with different artists and stuff like that. I think obviously from my experience as a lawyer and seeing what comes up in cases. I mean, if we're looking at it from the kind of themes that come up, especially ones like, I think it's difficult because from the perspective of seeing it from court, there's going to be particular cases coming to court, right? And when they use their music in court, but I guess you're talking about the typical things that may come up that people use in articles, scoreboards, samurai swords, and all that kind of stuff. I hear that. I think music has always kind of depicted what issues people are going through. And So I think yes, I think we can't play down the fact that it's just people's lives and it's an artistic form. I also think we can't exclude the truth of it's no different to a Facebook status that would have happened back in the day, or like something someone posted on MySpace or on an MSN status of ha 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 lol, this happened to you guys and you guys didn't do nothing. Manifest that in music and say, well, we came to your block and you guys didn't do nothing. We put up our flag. You guys didn't, not literally put up a flag, but we did something that plays joke to you guys. So I can't exclude the fact that because there are some songs that are on existing issues that are affecting people's friends. So take an example of what happened with you. If someone's saying that then they're making jest of it, we can't exclude the fact that that's almost like come get your flag back. So I appreciate that we can't exclude that, but that's not to say all. I don't think it's like that. I think that could manifest itself in anything. It's not just the music. So let's not play it down and just blame it on the music.
I'm on your side. But for argument's sake, I just want to say, like, you see, when things like that are said in music, it's relatable to some people. Some people are really gang members that are killers out here. They hear that shit and, sorry to swear, they hear that and
tick them off.
It doesn't even tick them off. Some people, it's like, yo, it's relatable to me. I did that. Do you get me? And that's making them like that song.
I'm not even thinking about them people. I'm thinking about the younger people growing up who may not even be involved in that lifestyle. But let's say you've gone to school, for example, and let's say in your scenario, someone has said to you, oh, your shoes are talking. And then everyone's laughed, ha ha, he, whatever. And then you feel a bit embarrassed. You go home, you think, then you listen to a drill song, oh yeah, my man disrespected me and I poked him in his chest. And you think, what? He took the piss out of me and I'm going to embarrass him tomorrow in front of school.
And that's what
and
I
then
mean
someone
by
gasses you up.
relatable.
Because I remember one of my friends, God bless his soul, he's not alive anymore. When I was younger, there was a time when I had like a few issues with girls in school. And now when I think back at it, I think to myself, all these girls were jealous of me. I don't care if you're watching now, I know that you like were just jealous. But anyway,
definitely jealous.
I used to have quite a lot of issues with like girls in school and stuff. And I remember it got to a point where it was so bad that girls would come down after school to my school like to try and fight me. And I'm not even gonna lie, even though I was a girl, there wasn't no one to help me at that time. The teachers wouldn't help. No, there was nothing they were doing. Only one girl, and I remember she was pregnant at the time. She was the only one who stood up for me, and I think she even ended up losing her pregnancy. But
she was fighting hard.
But like, because I'm not gonna lie, I was shook. There's like 10 crazy girls outside of school waiting to fight me. I'm not gonna go outside and fight. I'm not like Batman. Do you know what I mean? But like, I remember it got so bad that one boy who I knew, who was kind of involved in that lifestyle, he was like, do you know what, if you really want these girls to leave you alone, carry a knife. And he was like, you don't have to use it, but it was like, it will scare them away. If they try and attack you and you bring out your knife, it will scare them away. And you know, they always say that like saying where like, 9 times out of 10, if you carry a knife, it will end up being used on you. And that's the thing, like, it's reality. And if I had chosen to go and get a knife and I ended up like bringing it out one day and then one of them used it on me, I could have lost my life because I used the knife. And the thing is, in that scenario with you, if you had thought, okay, I'm going to go home, get a knife just to scare him, but then you actually got into a tussle and then one of you ended up getting hurt, that's how like just because of you listening to a song, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it can influence you. Do you know what I mean? Like same way like rap, I know rap isn't as bad yet, but like slow songs, they say, can influence you when you're in the mood. Like, do you know what I mean? Like music does have an element of influence.
Rappers that I listen to as a grown man, I'm not saying that I'm a violent guy in any way, I'm just bantering right now, but I'm being serious at the same time. There's rappers I listen to that make me go, this guy makes me want to go kill someone. Like I say it out banterful, but it's like their rap is like that. And if you're in that mood while you're listening to it, you could just be subconsciously taking in their message by accident, and it's just making you more angry. And
children do tend to copy and take things in, and they're more vulnerable. So I'm just saying, obviously, like, I understand it is more aimed at like black people, I feel like, with the grime thing, because we don't come for like slow jams and say that that's why there's a lot of teenage pregnancy and stuff like that. But I do understand that obviously it does play a part as well. Like these young boys that are, well, not even young boys, like these men that are making music and stuff, like they never want to kind of take accountability. But if you're going to be talking about, I shanked this person, I done this to this person, and you know that the most of the people that will listen to your music are young, Like, you're saying, yeah, I'm just talking about my lifestyle, whatever. Like, I don't care if, like, people are looking up to me. But people are looking up to you. Do you know what I mean? If you've made up enough money to get out of the hood and stuff, start talking about how you've changed your life around. Don't continue to be talking about all that kind of stuff and glorify it in your songs, because I don't really agree with that.
I feel like people do, though. Like, once they kind of... Because a lot of people are living a facade and rapping a facade. They talk like they've got what they haven't got until they get it, and then they completely just change what they're talking about. Yeah. Like, I saw something about the OFB boys the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And they was talking about how they're not mentioning dead ops in their songs no more. I didn't actually hear them say it, but that was the caption on the video.
Okay.
I respect them for that, because I'm not going to lie, I don't really like mentioning dead people. I feel like just once someone's dead, like, leave them to it.
Have a bit of respect for their parents that are mourning them as well.
That's the main thing, you get me? Because people that, let's say you're trying to banter someone that's dead, like, they could have their innocent sibling or someone that's got nothing to do with it.
You don't know how that could trigger that person, and they might want to rise
before you know
out.
They're seeing that now they're a gang member.
Exactly.
That's how the cycle goes on.
What do you think that, like, parents, like mothers and fathers, can do to, like, I don't know, kind of ensure that their child, I don't know, even like as a older brother, like your sibling or something, doesn't kind of like go down that route, like doesn't join a gang or get into criminal activity? Because obviously, let's be honest, that's not the right way to go.
What parents do.
Yeah.
Some of these issues, I mean, you can have parents who are doing great things, and I mean, you take a usual week of a kid, but for COVID, you're spending most of your time in school. And your parents coming back from work, whatever time they have to come back from, if they're working 1 job, 2 jobs, quite busy, and they get to contribute in the time they do, but there's a lot more hours for other factors to influence. Yes, there's work that parents can do, but is it all on them? No. I think obviously all you can do.
Can I stop you? When you say is it all on them? No. If you was to put a percentage on it, and when it comes to parent and child, like when it comes to accountability for the child's actions, who's it more under, percentage wise?
Oh, what, parent-child responsibility?
Yeah, like accountability for whatever that child does.
Okay, sorry.
So, you know how you said is it down to the parent, all down to the parent? No, like who's it down to then?
No. What I'm saying, okay, sorry, yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, you have a kid, be accountable, of course. I think the best thing, obviously as a parent, it's hard, not as someone who's not a parent, it's hard for me to just without the wisdom or the age and time. Course, but things I've observed and listened to older people say, it's less about what you're saying to your kid and more of the examples you're setting by what you actually do. So it's very easy to show very good values, be caring, generous, dedicated, but you have to be doing it so your kid sees it. Exactly.
That's what I want to touch on. You see, a lot of parents see their kids doing things and they don't really say anything straight away. And it's like
what things would you say that they see and they kind of turn a blind eye to it?
I'm not going to give a specific thing because it could be anything. And you ever heard that saying, you give someone an inch, they'll take a mile?
Okay.
That can relate to anything. Like, so you could see your kid do something bad, for instance. I'm not going to put a label on that bad. Anything bad. And it could be so minor, like they could be disrespectful with you, but in the most minor way. And you just let it run. After 2 or 3 years, like if the abuse gets more and more, like you shouldn't be surprised because you haven't said it. You've just let it slide. You know what I'm saying? And that could be with anything. You could walk in your child's room one day, innocently see a knife on the side and go, and you could blame his friend instead of blaming your son. And you could go, you know what, it's not his. But you don't say nothing about it.
There's a lot of parents like that.
Then before you know it, 5 years down the line,
which is like a lot. Sorry to cut you off. Another one that a lot of parents turn a blind eye to. For example, you were saying about having to hustle and make money to buy designer stuff. If I know that I'm a single parent and I'm not really earning that much money, I may even be on benefits. How am I going into my child's room and I'm seeing Giuseppe's, Gucci, all of that, and I'm not questioning you about where you got it?
It's not even about that. No. Let me tell you what it is. It's about when kids come to their struggling parents with the cash and say, "Here, take," and then their parents don't say nothing to them. They're like, at first they question them, "Where'd you get this from?" Before you know it, they're like patting their mum like, "Oh, mum, don't worry about it." and they're just sitting there. They don't question. They're not stopping their child. They're not saying, no, I don't want this money. Stop what you're doing.
Is this, and this is just based on lived experience of seeing that? Are you saying this from your lived experience? Are you saying this happens often?
I've seen this a lot.
Yeah, they kind of, so they're happy because you're providing them with that money that they obviously need, but then when you're now getting arrested, they're now upset because they haven't really stopped you from doing what you're doing. They've kind of taken money from you. They know that you probably haven't got in the right way.
So there's like self-blame there in the parent. Because they know that they could have done more.
Because there is a lot of people that say, oh, a lot of children come from really good households, which they do. I'm not disputing that. And they say, oh, like you can't always blame the parents because parents try their best and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you've turned a blind eye to certain things that your child has done, you need to take accountability. Because if your child's going to get arrested because they've been doing fraud or they've been selling drugs, you can't act surprised now when you knew that little Jerome was coming in with like loads of cash and giving you money. Do you know what I mean? So there has to be some kind of accountability. But then there is people that also people that hide it very well. Like some people wouldn't even know that their child is part of a gang. Literally.
Yeah, real talk. You wouldn't know.
I think I heard that there are circumstances where it happened. I've also seen parents which they will just question their kids in the exact same way you're talking about. I've seen parents where the kids are totally different when they're outside their house and when they're inside their house. I think I've seen parents who are their own job, and I've been in rooms where they've said certain things to their kids, and I'm listening to parent like, yo, like cool. But do you know what it is? End of the day is, like there are other circumstances where there's kids who get all A's in school, and they're still doing a nonsense, and they're high achievers.
Really from boredom. Some of them always end up being the smart ones.
Like I said, you've given some examples. I've kind of touched on some various circumstances. I think it's difficult. There is no one size fits all. What I can say is that it's important to know fact of the tools that will help and support, get your kids out of difficult circumstances, or just support them get into better things. I think some parents, especially in lower socio-economic circumstances, may not be educated, for example, in
most things.
Issues that are going on in the school they've put their kids in, and how much are they really focusing on? Is the school got behavioural issues? What are the school's Ofsted report like? It's not just send your kid to school and think, oh, get an education, because
it's close to the house as well.
Your kid could be trying, but the school could just be bad. So the parent could be doing good stuff at home. They just don't know. They're not like, the parent doesn't know enough about the education system, or they're not engaging in it. So when they send their kids to school, they might think it's as simple as kid listens to teacher and because you've got some crap teachers sometimes. So I'm saying that's what I'm saying. It's a number of factors, and it's that's why I don't want to just put all blame on just parents and all responsibility on just parents.
But remember the question. But as you're answering it though, what can parents do?
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So so if you can, please, research the schools you're sending your kids to. If see the reports about how they're doing. If you haven't got much choice and your kids are already in a school like that, find out. Go to those evenings where they're asking for contribution from teach.
Be involved more. Be more attentive.
Do you think knowing who your children's friends are as well?
Definitely.
Like connecting with the other parents of the kids, your kids, the parents.
Around with.
These are your children. You have to monitor them more. You have to be more attentive. You have to like see what is going on. Like just be more aware of what's going on with your children in general. Like you see, like both of our mums, they had 5 children each. It's like let alone 2 kids. Like imagine 5. Like to keep an eye on each one at the same time. That's how I got away with a lot of the things I was doing, because it's like by the time my mum turns around, I'll go out, do something bad, come back. It's like, where was you? Outside.
Can I also add to that though, in both these scenarios, even though obviously there's marriage and stuff involved, both parents were single mothers. Do you understand what I mean? So don't you think it's very important for dads to also be present? Let's be honest, like not all relationships obviously last, things happen. Well, but dads need to be present.
I don't know, because my friends
present for what?
My friends
as in present in your son's life, because your son needs to see a good role model. It
can't always be
uncles or like new boyfriends every now and again.
I have friends that are still out here in the streets that both of their parents married, still live together, happily married.
You can live with your child and still not be present. Do Do you know that?
That's why I'm just like, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm talking about being present. So, like, you might not necessarily be with the mother of your child anymore, but you could still go to that house every Saturday and just take your child to football practice. Do you know what I mean? There's some people that after they've split up with their child's mother, they're not really, like, you call them weekend dads, and sometimes they still let you down. Like, they won't really be in your life. They won't really be around that child. So that child isn't really seen a proper male role model. And then there's also people that are still married. They live with the child or whatever, but they're not really doing any type of activities. Like, your child could be into football, your child could be into basketball. They don't come to football practice, they don't come to basketball practice, they don't do your homework with you, they don't do none of these things. I remember when we was younger, till this day, mum still says how I used to sit down and do your work with you and stuff and help you with your work. Like, as much as that's good for me to do, that wasn't my job. That's more of a parent's job. So you need to be more active in your child's life. Do you understand?
I hear you. I agree. I think those kind of things, if you could be more active, if you could pay attention to if your kids engaging in, I don't know, their out of school work, or supporting, encouraging them in things you think they're particularly good at, and being more present in, I don't know, their educational life, their sport, like all these other factors. I hear you, it's really good. But then again, we're also talking about circumstances where I think we just talked about, like, single parents who've got multiple things. I don't think my mum would have had time to contribute to doing that with all of us at various times. She was working 2 jobs at some points in my growing up. So it's not straightforward that. But I agree with that. And also, I think it's not, I mean, if our parents or any other parent had time to see maybe how others were doing it, or had parental support, knowing that that's a thing that supports, they may have just thought that your in school education's good enough. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I think I hear you, that is good, and it would have really helped. But there's parents who have money who don't do that, and they just pay other people to do it. Do you know what I mean? Because they don't have time to do it. So let alone parents who
don't have the money.
Don't have the money, and might not have the time to do it. But I think you're talking about what, like, just seconds ago, what parents do. Engaging with other parents your kids are hanging out with, engaging more with the school, engaging more with the local council and community. I think sometimes, like, other factors, like what's going on in your local community. So, for example, if the local council, or if there's an initiative to support development in your area, and they want to get contributions of people to engage in that to engage in what happens with community centres or things like that, or other local initiatives, go there, because I'm sure people have opinions that they speak about with their friends, family, whatever, or teachers. If you go there, you can say it to the people contributing, and sometimes they put letters through the door about what's going on in the local community. Check out those letters. That's not to say some people might be doing it, but if not, that's a great way, because this is the area your kid comes back to. If there's things they can be doing in the local area that may support their development when you're not around, stuff like that may help. But like I said, we could go into a whole debate just on that question.
It's true. I relate. I understand what you're saying, because I think I was listening to a man on YouTube the other day, and he was saying something about how he saw that his son was really into boxing. No, he was really into boxing. So when he was younger, he used to go boxing all the time, and that kind of took him away from the lifestyle that he was in the hood, because he was training all, like, from the afternoon till evening, he was so tired by the time he finished, he'd just go home. So then, because of that, he didn't have time to kind of chill with guys on the block. So sometimes as well, getting your children into things that they may like and they're into, like, obviously not every boy is into sport or stuff like that, but if they're creative, I don't know, like, a lot of children like to just stay at home and be on their PlayStation. Like, different people like doing different things. So I think it's important to obviously kind of get your children into what they enjoy doing. What advice would you give, like a young boy? I'm not going to say black boy, because I think it's important for all type of boys, because everyone, like most young people can be coerced into, like, obviously doing bad things and getting into, like, a gang and stuff like that. What advice would you give to anyone that's, like, younger, like a nephew, a brother, that, like, maybe would think that lifestyle is glorified, think that it's good, thinks that, because let's be honest, a lot of these gangs, they could kind of take younger children in and say that, oh, we're going to look after you, we're going to give you money if we just do this for us. What advice would you give to them to, like, not get into that lifestyle and to kind of go into, like, the right path?
Can I go first? I would say to them, Imagine I was speaking to my nephew, like how you said,
Yeah.
Imagine he was old enough now and was talking to him. I would tell him, as me and Shina are sitting here now, you can see the type of life paths we both took and how it benefited both of us. Choose Uncle Shina's way, because look at where it's got me. I don't have a degree. I don't have a good job. And we had similar upbringings, very similar upbringings. Yeah. And it all comes down to life choices. Like he was saying, you can't always blame the parent. And it's not all down to the parent. It's down to the actual child, like training your child so that they can make the right decisions in life. And they can sit there, like when that person does come up to them and say, oh, hold this for me, they go, no, you know what, I can't. Why? Because I don't want to. I don't want to be involved in that. It's not me.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, it does take courage to do that, because you could be scared for 100 number of reasons. The person could slap you because you don't want to do it. Like, there's some words that's like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So my advice to them is to just concentrate on the positive and try and make something of yourself. Like, pick a goal and try and achieve that goal. Try and make it positive. Try to stay away from the negative stuff, because karma's real, man. Like, yeah, that would be my advice, man. To just try and get education. Education's key, man. Like, it's gonna get you somewhere in life. Yeah. Like, the streets won't get you nowhere.
That's really good. Yeah.
Were you asking what advice you give young people?
So what advice would you give someone that's now younger than you, who may be kind of thinking that being in a gang is kind of like a good thing, and they were thinking of joining a gang? Like, what advice would you give them to, like, basically don't go down that route? It's not for them, and to kind of choose the right path.
Okay.
I know many gang members, and I tell you what, they either go jail, they die, or they jump off and try to tell you they don't want to be involved no more after they've shaved 100 people. Like, there's no point waiting 10 years, realizing it's too late, and then everyone's still onto you anyway. You can't live a peaceful life. Start from you're young. Like, don't get involved in it. But sorry, Shina.
No, it's cool. I say, young bro, young sis, whether you're black,
girls as well,
brown, white, if you grew up in similar circumstances that we've spoken about, grew up in similar circumstances to us, I would say, look, after years of doing uni, I'm not going to say that education and being academic is the only route. Because when I went through university, I grafted and I worked hard because I had a love for what I was doing from time I was in school, and that made it easier for me to go harder. I did my best when I realised how I learned best. So I didn't necessarily I did well in school. I did well relative to everyone else. So my academic achievement was great compared and considered exceptional in my school. But really and truly across the country, probably not. But what I would say is, when I realised how I learned and I picked up seeing how other people learn, I said, I learn more like that. I would say, can you teach me how you revive like that? Because I wasn't taught that in school. So that helped me. So what I would say, from factors like that, dedication, how I said I found what I loved and I worked hard at it, and realising how I learn, if you're in school and you'll find it challenging to engage maybe in what's going on in class, but you like the subject maybe, don't think you're not good at it. Think, when you have understood that thing, what helped more? Talk to the teacher, talk to your parents, say, this helped me more to learn better.
Yeah, for real.
And then just work on that, and say, well, I don't think I'm really understanding that. And whether that's in academia, whether that's in something outside school, wherever you're grafting at and you enjoy, just work on that.
So a lot of people are scared to ask.
And when it comes to things like, you're talking about maybe it might look glossy, they think that, this lifestyle's better. I mean, like, I don't think necessarily it's always that. I think there's other factors like exclusion and kids being sent out of school into units, and people being pushed out for aggressive behaviour when they're not actually being aggressive, and there might be other factors that are affecting their life. If you're going through a shoot and you've ended up in a place where you don't want to be, whether that's unit or some other kind of circumstances where you're not in mainstream education, I want you to be able to see this. There's certain things that we don't call grooming, there's certain things that we don't call pressure. When someone walks up to you, maybe if it's after school, maybe you'll buy a local shop, and they say, hold this, do this, like Wale said here, it may look fine, it may be cool, hopefully you can say no, it may seem simple and you're just holding something at first. Just realise that if you think it might look attractive, it's not, because long term no one's Pablo Escobar, and you can't really do much with the money, especially the way things are going now. It's not easy to hide this thing. I'm not justifying it in any way, just don't do it. But if in ways you think it's fine and it's not that deep, know that sometimes the things that you think that are fine, and words like grooming surely doesn't apply to you in those circumstances. Looking back at it, as we say, I think it does. You're being told to go to certain places, you're being taken certain places with money, with incentives to buy you clothing and things like that. Trust me, it's not it.
It's hard, man.
I would say it's grooming.
Yeah,
definitely.
Anyone who knows people doing it in local areas, those older people who are influencing people, please just watch out and support the young people.
Yeah, man.
There's so much more to this.
Some man don't even know what they're doing, you know. They're just trying to make a play. They're just trying to make some money to feed their little family. They don't know that they're messing up this young G. It's gonna be traumatic for him. He's gonna have some type of PTSD. Like when I was a young boy, OT, I saw some crazy things, and none of my friends were there to witness it, so they don't have to believe me. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like I wasn't there. Do you know? You don't have to say you have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
And I saw some crazy stuff that you would never see in the ends, and you would just think, wow, and then he died, do you know what I'm saying? And you don't want to be going through that as a young boy, bro. It's traumatic.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later, you might not be working for that youth no more. Now you just got this trauma on your head for the rest of your life.
And it's not always easy to get out once you get in.
Yeah, real talk. And the life's addictive, because what people really do make in a whole month, you could make in 2 or 3 days. So it's
and you're not really going to want to go and do a 9 to 5 once you've
can
kind of got
understand why it's so
yourself into
influential for anyone, not just young boys.
Yeah, not just young boys, because I know there is girls as well, but obviously it's majority. It seems like it's like young boys. So really good to kind of see the different sides of the spectrum, how you both grew up and how you both obviously went down different paths and stuff. This is obviously really important to me, because I've got 2 young black boys myself who I'm obviously caring for, and living in East London, that's obviously, I feel like now the whole postcode thing is a lot more prevalent than before, and it's crazy how even being with some cousins, sometimes they can't just go to their local shop because they're scared. Well, they're kind of scared in a way that something may happen to them, which is
sorry
I've been around siblings or not siblings, sorry, cousins or friends, and they can't just go to the local shop with me, or they can't just go somewhere with me. Some people can't, they've got children, they can't even take their child to the shop because something might happen. The reason why I keep saying black is because I'm black, and obviously the problem is really bad in our community, and I feel we really need to stick together. And it's crazy how you could walk down the road and be in a different postcode and you've got beef with that person just because of where you live. It's just when you think about it, it's very childish. And obviously now we know that Jamel is autistic. He's seen as a vulnerable child, and I don't want, because obviously someone that has autism has obviously they're able to be easily influenced, and I don't want someone who may be older, who should be mature and know better, to one day try to come and walk up to my child, maybe when he's on his way home from school, and think that they can ask him to hold something for him or to sell drugs, and him not knowing wrong from right necessarily may do that. And that would break my heart to think that if he maybe said no, or if he did do it, he could get himself hurt just because of some do you know what I mean? So that's why it's really important, I feel as mothers and fathers, for us to hear people's experiences and stuff. I know you say obviously you can do everything you can as a parent and still your child can go a different way, which is very true, but if we can think kind of out of the box and different to our parents' experiences, where they were kind of African, growing up in the UK, had a different kind of mentality and stuff. If there is something more we can do, try and be a bit more present. Hope you enjoyed coming onto my channel. Maybe I can get you guys back again to discuss something else. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.
And subscribe to my channel as well.
Oh yeah, what is your channel?
Slinko SG, SLINKO SG.
I'll put it down in the description box. So yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.